needless to say that I am nervous about speaking. Not only nervous of speaking in front of such a chashuv oilum, but I have a very bad track record. Since the war has begun, every time I've gotten up to say the chizzuk, the sirens have gone off. Now, Tiftach the Satan, but I don't want it to be so. This past week's parsha, we saw the upside down nuns surrounding the psukim in the Torah. Shaarei, and we're told that those simanim separate these two psukim into a sefer b'fnei atzma, bringing the total of the svarim of the Torah to 7 svarim. But it's an oddity because each of the svarim are massive, bracious, shmois, either side of Bamidbar, made up of many, many psukim. And yet, this sefer, the 5th sefer of the Torah, is made up of merely 2 psukim. And that's it. That's the entirety of the Torah, of that sefer. I want us to wonder how this could be an entire sefer of the Torah made up of 2 psukim, 80 some odd letters, the size of the kashrus, of the salvageability of the Torah. Why is that the representative of an entire sefer? So we know the Chazal tell us that the Torah was given white fire on black fire. Whenever you hear that, you know that there's going to be something launched into something esoteric. But the truth is, there's perhaps a very rational explanation of white fire and black fire. The color white really contains and absorbs all other colors. But the black is really the absence of color. Black is really the absence of color. The white really represents everything. It represents the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that which contains everything. And the black is that which we can perceive and we can understand it. That which we can recognize. What man can be typhus. And the black fire on white fire is that behind every letter, and that's the reason why there has to be mukav kvil, why there has to be parchment around every letter. Because behind every letter is surrounded, everything that we can understand is this olam of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's, is this world that is so much deeper than what we can see. In every sefer of the Torah, there is white fire on black fire. In every sefer in the Torah, there is that which we can understand and that which lies behind it. And there is a vast array of things that we can understand. That which we can understand in Sefer Bereshis, in Sefer Shmos, in Sefer Vayikra. But in this Sefer of the Torah, there's really only very little to understand. It is so deep and so vast. But there's just 2 things that we can get. Vayhi bin Sov Nucha Yomer. That the message of those words is the message of what was said before it. Al pi Hashem Yisu, al pi Hashem Yachnu. That wherever we go, and wherever we walk, and whatever's happening to us, when we are traveling in turmoil, when we are disconnected from where we're meant to be, when we're in Galus, we understand this al pi Hashem. Uvnucha yomer, when things are more settled, when we're back in the place that we need to be, it's al pi Hashem Yisu, al pi Hashem Yachnu. And that's the message, the black fire. That's what we can get out of that. And that's a sefer b'fnei atzma. That is to stand on its own. And that sefer is separated by 2 nuns. By the nun Shaarei Chachma. by the nun of Nefillah, that we understand that when we are noifel, when we are falling and faltering, that we have to rely on an innate chachma and understand the message. Al pi Hashem yisu, al pi Hashem yachnu. That we're not alone, and that what's happening is happening all because of the directive of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that we're in His hands, and that we're being protected by Him. And really it's the nuns. Go back 50 sections in the Torah, and you'll know exactly where this message is meant to be delivered when we're traveling in the Midbar. But it was lifted off of there, and it was placed over here. It was placed in order to be mafsik, bein Puranius to Puranius. Because it was in these Puranius, it was in these moments where we were faltering, where we were like a tinok habareach mi beis hasefer, like a child that was running from the beis hasefer. When we were like mislaining and when we were complaining, we couldn't see the Yad Hashem. Therefore, it had to be lifted off of there and placed over here, and we need that reminder in that moment. Because it's odd that they tell me that we take a section of the Torah and place it over here. Lahafsik bein Puranius and Puranius. What kind of hafsik? It happened already. No, it's because when your life is mirroring that, when your life is that of Ketina Kabarech Beis HaSefer, when you're not connected to where you are, when your life is like a mislangim, when all you can see is bitterness, all you can see is terrible things, when you hear of these things that are happening and you see the negative and you feel the negative, then you need to be reminded with that Sefer Bifnei Atzma that stands on its own, those two psukim that we can perceive and understand from the depth of a HaKadosh Baruch Hu that lives behind it. Al pi Hashem yisu, al pi Hashem yachnu. We have nothing at all to worry about, because ultimately it's all happening from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it has to send this message. And that's the message that we need to take with us, and we need to be mechazik ourselves with. That we hear so many things that are happening, and we get caught up in what everybody gets caught up in all of the politics, in all of the people, and all of the things, and none of that matters. And what matters is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking to us. And exactly what He's expecting, why He's doing, what the plans are, there's no way for me to know. But that He wants me to be mechazik myself. But that He wants us to be mechazik ourselves. That He wants us, if nothing else, to be able to recognize Al pi Hashem yisu, Al pi Hashem yachnu. Because when we live that way, our lives are strengthened and our lives are lived differently. That's the message that He wants me to hear. I heard from Rabbi Weiss that we say that when we gather together, that we give thanks over the past, and then we have to be tzayik al asid. We have to cry out for what's going on and what's going to be. Said Rabbi Weiss very beautifully that sometimes all I want to do is to gather together to be tzayik al asid. It's just to feel that safety of crying out with other people and crying out to Ribbon Shlomo. God, don't forsake me. But please don't forget to be Maida ala over. Don't forget to thank on the past. And to be grateful for the way we were living. Grateful for the way we live. Grateful for our existence and all the brachas that we have in our lives. And he says sometimes we want to be Maida ala over. Sometimes we want to feel the gratitude of the things of the past. Things are quiet now. I just want to say thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't ever forget to be tzedek al asid. That we have to cry out for the future also. that we have to remember and remind ourselves and be mechazik ourselves. Al pi Hashem Yisu, al pi Hashem Yachna. I can't explain why it's that way. I can only know it's that way. And even though we're suffering loss, and even though we're being misabel and mispalel for those whose lives have been taken, and for those who have been injured, the hundreds that have been injured. But I know Al pi Hashem Yisu, Al pi Hashem Yachna. Some 43 years ago, Erev Shabbos Kodesh Bahaloischa, Tavshin Mem Aleph, Linyan Pitutzeinu Hakur Ha'atomi Shel Iraq. Erev Shabbos Parshas Bahaloischa, Niskayim HaPasuk B'Torah, Dvarim Lamed Gimel Chav Tes, Ashrecha Yisrael Mikamecha Anoisha B'Hashem, Magen Ezrecha, V'asher Cherev Gavasecha, V'chachashu Eivechalach, V'yato Al B'Meisemu Tidrech. In the end, you're going to walk on their high places. In the end, you're going to come out okay. This is a letter that was written. Zacharta ki hu hanoisin l'cha koyach la'asei schayel. Al pi Hashem Yisu v'al pi Hashem Yachanu. Tzvi Yehuda HaKohen Cook. We need to be makir and mechazik, and to strengthen ourselves. Not in a cavalier kind of way. I don't care. It's all okay. The siren goes off, it doesn't matter. No, Al pi Hashem Yisu v'al pi Hashem Yachna. Because when I recognize, when I can be oiches, when I can hold that sefer bifnei atzma, then my life is lived in a different way. And I could be mashpia on my family. I could be mashpia on my children. I could be mashpia on my surroundings. We need to be mechazik ourselves and project the confidence of one who lives Al pi Hashem Yisu, Al pi Hashem Yachna. And it's through that emunah and bitachon and that life that we live based on that emunah and bitachon, the Kodesh Baruch Hu should bring the Yeshua and should bring shalom to his people and to his world. Amen.